All America, all the time. Sit down, buckle up, and get ready for the Dan Bongino Show.
So I like hanging in the chat, or at least reading the chat. I made a couple of comments today. 10, 10, and 10. Get out, make sure. 10 posts before the election, 10 phone calls, 10 emails before the midterms. We got to win, we lose. President Trump gets impeached, period. But I was hanging out in the chat room, and I got to tell you, number one, I'm really flattered by, Jasmine and I were chatting. She was sitting in the chair right over there before the show. And I was saying how we've got this crew of like, I don't know what it is, 10, 20,000 or so. I don't want to exaggerate, but just absolute like Dan Bongino Show diehards. And I love you guys and ladies. You're the best. One of them, Star Wars man or something, forgive me, I forget the name in the chat, said, hey, man, I got to go to work. I watched the show on demand later, but was like hanging out in the chat before the show. Like, that's awesome, man. Star Wars man or dude or guy or Star Wars McGroin, whatever your thing was. If you can find that, man, that's awesome. He was hanging. He's going to watch the show later. He's got to go to work. Hey, people got things to do. I like to be first in the beginning of the day. That's why we do the show early, because I don't want to ever be accused. Here's why. You want to know why? Not to get off topic, but this is important. I never, ever want to be accused of stealing people's stuff. So we go pretty much first. Well, Vince goes at 8, but I'm doing show prep at 8. So I never want to be accused of that. Someone else in the chat wrote before, hey, Dan, people are saying it's going to be World War III. What do you think? Folks, the Iranians, the Russians won't even give them super sensitive like missile technology, or China, because they know the Iranian mullahs are freaking crazy. And the Iranian mullahs sending ballistic missiles and drones all over the Middle East to countries, some countries that in the past may have been considered even quasi-allies of them, does not bode well for you sharing nuclear weapons technology with them in the future, because they know if the Iranians had nuclear weapons that they would have just launched the nukes everywhere and destroyed everything. The World War III talk is like, listen, man, I'm always worried about World War III. Of course, you know, it's a possibility someday some global conflict will break out involving nuclear weapons. Let's all pray and hope to God that never happens. But let's be realistic too. World War III, we've heard this 1,000 times. The Abraham Accords, World War III, move the embassy. World War III, Soleimani. World War III, Baghdadi. How about that? World War III. It's always World War III. I want to see freaking data. I'm sorry. After you've made 20 predictions about World War III and 0 of them have worked out, I kind of like ready to move on from you. Am I crazy? Folks, one of the things about this show, and I think this is why our audience always kicks ass and takes names, and why we're always at the top of these charts, is because we just don't bullshit people. We just don't bullshit people. World War III. I know it makes a great headline. Stunner, World War III tomorrow. But it's just, you're never going to build an audience like that long-term that's loyal, where people show up in the chat before they go to work, because they know you're full of shit. I got a lot to talk about. I got a banger of an opener today. We're going to hit like 3 or 4 huge stories right away in the beginning, including IMHO, fellas, ladies. My humble opinion here. The most dangerous problem we're going to have moving forward, God forbid we lose the midterms and the presidency in 2028. The judicial system right now is being infiltrated, and they're not even hiding it, by left-leaning groups learning how to engage in like jury nullification and selective targeting. It is going to be open season. And it's not going to be a matter of reforming federal agencies. This isn't federal agencies we're talking about. These are jury pools. I'll show you what I mean. I got that. Really, when I say shocking poll, and I mean it. It's not so much a shocking poll for us, but I promise it was for the Democrats. Today's show brought to you by All Family Pharmacy. What do they do for you? They let you plan ahead with vital medications shipped right to your door. Don't wait knocking on the pharmacy with them. Let me in an emergency. You don't need that. They're probably not going to answer. Go to allfamilypharmacy.com/Bongino. Learn more. Use code Bongino10 to save 10% on your next order. Prescription provided. Get your stuff today. Don't wait. We've seen what can happen. Better to have it, not need it, than need it and not have it. Today's show also brought to you by preparewithdan.com, our friends at My Patriot Supply. If a major disruption happened and you couldn't get to the store, how long do you think it would last? Your food, what's in your house right now? You want to be like, hey, Dad, where's the food? I don't have any. I didn't think of that. That's our job. Our job is to prepare. Listen, they can laugh at you all you want, folks. They're going to be knocking at your door if stuff breaks bad and you were not prepared. It is a basic human instinct to prepare for yourself. Get your emergency food and supplies now. Don't wait for the emergency. They're not going to be around then. You need to check out our friends at My Patriot Supply. They're America's #1 preparedness company with over 3 million satisfied customers. What has 2 thumbs and is one of them? This guy. And right now, when you go to preparewithdan.com, their best-selling 4-week emergency food supply comes with an additional week of food free. Can't beat that. It's the best long-term storable food you can find. Get a kit for every member of your family. It'll give you 2,000 calories a day of real meals made with real ingredients, no artificial flavors or colors, and shelf lives measured in decades. That's a lot of food insurance right there. Look, we all know we need to have some food stored for emergencies. Everyone's done it. Our ancestor, this is the only generation where people are like, you got to go do it. Why not get it from My Patriot Supply, the most trusted folks in the business? Get a free week of food while you're at it. Go to preparewithdan.com. Get your free week of emergency food today. That's preparewithdan.com. You guys liked the shirt yesterday, by the way? This is a blue one. All America, all the time. The lovely Paula, she loves this designing shirts. It's her thing. So she's very proud of it. You can pick one up if you want one at Bongino.com. Up to you, of course, totally. So this is going to be a huge monster problem. Not going to be. It already is. Disregard. Rewind a tape. Scratch sound. It already is a problem. The problem is it's going to be an even bigger problem going forward. The left has figured out through weaponizing government, which again, we're doing our best and did our best to clean up. It is not going to happen overnight. Again, I'm not going to bullshit you. All these other people out there, you should have come in there at day one and axed the entire place. Really? You understand how these government hiring rules, people sue, they get their jobs back and they get money. Then you can never get rid of them. The government system is so bureaucratic and a mess. The left knows this. Entrench people, weaponize the government. Now, they want to layer on another layer of security. So if they engage in another Donald Trump supporter targeting episode, they want to be sure, even if they can't use the government to do it, they can use state liberal governments and they can weaponize juries. Look at this post by Carrie Severino. You need to check this out. She's a really great analyst about what goes on in the judicial branch of government. She says, presenting the left-wing dark money apparatus's latest scheme to influence judicial outcomes. Read this and weep. It wasn't enough for George Soros and the dark money web to back far-left prosecutors who release criminals or to bolster judges who ignore the rule of law. This is just another aspect of the legal system these groups are trying to infiltrate. This is huge. Check this out. We saw it. Left-wing activist groups are teaching libs now how to get through jury selection and vote not guilty on Trump DOJ prosecutions, recordings show. Folks, not an excuse, a freaking explanation. If we don't understand the problem, we're never going to be able to fix it. This is a huge problem because you can appoint everyone you want in the USIC, the Intel community, the FBI, the DOJ, select whoever you want for president. If we can't get prosecutions on public corruption because they're just going to vote no on anyone put over there, this is a huge problem. Now, that's already impacted us in a number of cases. I say us, the people, the justice system, the FBI, you've seen it. This is a huge problem. The problem going forward is Washington, D.C. is 85+% Democrat. When you factor in left-leaning independents, it's probably closer to 90+. There are very few Republicans for a jury pool in Washington, D.C. Ladies and gentlemen, that creates what's known as a math problem. The chances of you getting a constitutionalist or Republican who actually believes in the rule of law on a jury in Washington, D.C. mathematically are not great if a bunch of big government liberals who just want Trump people prosecuted no matter what and anti-Trump people let off. It's a huge math problem. You get two things. You get jury nullification when bad guys get caught, And then on the other side, you get selective targeting. Like in a number of cases of Trump officials through the DC circuit, where cases went on and on despite no evidence whatsoever they did anything wrong. Folks, let me tell you something. And you're hearing this from me, and it gives me absolutely no pleasure in telling you this, but listen up. And as my grandmother used to say, and listen good, Daniel, listen good. If there is ever going to be a breakup of the national justice system and a cold, legal civil war, I don't mean legal civil war like legal, I mean legal like in the legal judicial process, the legal process. This is going to be it. What do you mean by that? If this gets ugly and Democrats in Washington, D.C., remember the sandwich guy throws the sandwich at the cop on camera? They're like, no, nothing happened there. Oh, okay, so everybody should start throwing sandwiches at cops? Is that what you're suggesting? How could you not indict on that? That's insane. That's a small example of how bad I think this is going to get if the left keeps this up, and they will. And what you're going to see now going forward, if this gets bad and doesn't hit an asymptote, keeps getting worse, you're going to see people in conservative states, and they're just going to be like, hey, man, you're going to have to come send someone after you. I'm not going up to D.C. I'm not going there. The judicial process is completely rigged. They're going to have to see upper-level courts creep in here and clean this mess up. Folks, this is a freaking disaster, man. I'm telling you, this has the potential to get really bad really quick. And of course, you are never, ever going to get honest reporting on this disgusting, filthy, freaking phenomenon of jury nullification from the left and selective targeting from a left-wing media. Put up that CNN tweet. This rates up there as possibly, folks, one of the top 10 worst tweets I've seen of all time, and that's saying a lot. So we had the incident with these two subjects and suspects in this case up in New York throwing a bomb at that Jake Lang protest. By the way, a viable bomb, according to the NYPD themselves. It was a TATP explosive. Here's how CNN frames this. Two Pennsylvania teenagers crossed into New York City Saturday morning for what could have been a normal day, enjoying the city during abnormally warm weather. Keep this up. What the does that have to do with the bombing? Keep this up. What does the weather have to do with the bombing? It sounds like two Pennsylvania teens. They were getting ready to enjoy a picnic. It was abnormally warm weather. They were sunning their nuts in Central Park, trying to get some testosterone from the photons hitting their testicles. It was a wonderful day. They were eating a ham sandwich. Oh, a lot of ham sandwich. Can you do that? Oh my gosh, look at this. They were having strawberry smoothies. What the kind of opening is this? Then it goes on. It gets even worse. How the hell can it get even worse? Because it's CNN. It always gets worse. But in less than an hour, when they stopped sunning their nuts, little improv, their lives would drastically change. Gee, why would their lives change? Why do you think that is? Guy said it right. It's just crazy when you throw a couple bombs. How do your lives change? This is the beginning of this is framed like their lives changed, like they were sunning their balls and someone came and kicked them in the nuts and put a bomb next to their nuts or something. Their lives drastically changed. That's crazy how that happens. Their lives would drastically change as the pair would be arrested for throwing homemade bombs. Here we finally get to it. During an anti-Muslim protest outside of Mayor Mamdani's home, here's what we know so far. Acting as if Mamdani, the liberal lunatic, that they bombed his house. So people are responding back. I saw some lady comment that her friend read the tweet and was like, man, that's so crazy. Like they attacked Mamdani. The lady's like, what the fuck are you talking about? They didn't attack Mamdani. They attacked the Jake Lang protest. It had nothing to do with what are you talking about? Oh my gosh. That weirdest, he's like, this has got to be the weird. That is top 10 craziest freaking tweets you've ever seen. Their lives would drastically change. That happens when you throw bombs and shit. That happens. That happens. Here's my PSA of the day. Do we even need to say this? I think we do. Republicans pounce. Who just said that? Let's go, Brandon, and Republic in the chat. Republicans bounce. It's so true. Here's Justin, PSA for the day. If you don't want your life, as CNN said, to drastically change, Justin, is this not good advice? It's a good idea to not do a TATP bomb, load it with shrapnel, and throw it at an event. You think pretty good advice? Justin says it's sound. He's doing the Spock thing. Your logic is sound. I'm not even a Star Trek fan. I like more kind of Star Wars, and I like these guys. But, whatever. The logic there is sound. Throwing bombs, bad idea. Folks, don't do it. Friends, don't let friends throw TATP bombs at a protest. Because CNN tells you your life may drastically change. I'm almost crying here if you watch. That's why my eyes are rolled around. I cannot believe we have to address this kind of shit on the air. Do you understand if we had an honest media, the world would be a completely different place? And here's the real kick in the gonads here. That this president, he obviously can't stand the left-wing media. I can't either. But he understands he's the president in a republic. And he is still easily by a long shot, based on the number of press availabilities, pressers, and questions he answers, by a moonshot, is the most accessible president in American history. There's not even a close second. I take that back. There is a close second. You know who it is? Trick question. Damn it. You got it. Yes, he's finally. Yes, Trump 45 is the closest. Same guy. Here's John Carl in a video. John Carl's an ABC reporter. He's a left-leaning guy. Not the most left-leaning guy, but he's doing a TikTok video. You don't take my word for it. Despite the fact that the media just constantly shits on us, this president, all the time with stupid posts like that, he still takes their calls. By the way, I can vouch. I said this out of pat on the back. Oh, look at me. I rarely, if ever, call the president. Rarely, okay? I don't pretend me and him are coffee buddies and friends. We're friends in the sense that I worked for him. I know I don't bust his chops and waste his time on the phone. He doesn't need to hear from me. He's got things going on. I don't waste his time. However, these reporters call and he picks up the phone and talks to anyone, even after they shit on him. This is the most accessible president in history. I thought he was a fascist. No more kings. Here, listen to John Carl talk about it himself.
I've covered 5 different presidents. I have never seen one other than Donald Trump who regularly takes phone calls from reporters. So I thought I would talk a little bit about that. I've spoken to him over the phone 3 times since the military operation, the war against Iran started. In each of those cases, I simply called him and he answered. Some of the conversations are short. Some of them can be quite lengthy. I talked to him today during the middle of the afternoon, and the call lasted for about 20 minutes.
I mean, guys, ladies, come on. I'm just asking you in the chat, let's be real here, even if you're a Trump hater. Does this sound like the activities of a monarch, a fascist, a king? Kings were accessible like that? People just used to walk into the palace and say, walk into the castle. King Joey Bag of Donuts. I got a couple questions. I got me some questions. When the hell did that ever happen? What? There's an update? They didn't know way. Is this real? Live time. Hold on. First in a long time. Live time Dan Bongino show update showing you the show is live. We're not messing with you. To watch for someone who noticed yesterday. Different one today. But whatevs. CNN update on the craziest post of all time. A post regarding the 2 individuals arrested for throwing homemade bombs outside of Mamdani's home failed to reflect the gravity of the incident, thereby breaching the editorial standards we require for all of our reporting. It has therefore been deleted. Too late, CNN. The Dan Bongino show already reported on it. I know, that is. Justin said there are 2 words in that tweet doing a shit ton of work. That's editorial and standards. CNN all of a sudden has editorial standards. That just happened. That is a lifetime Dan Bongino show curveball right there. How the hell did that pass by like 5 or 6 people at CNN who read that and said, that sounds all right. You don't want your life substantially upended. Don't throw freaking bombs. Speaking of which, one of the things I told you I was going to hit you with a lot of information at the beginning. I haven't even, here, you want to see how the show looks? Look at this. Folks in the chat, check this out. Doing stuff on the screen is no good. Okay, I'm not going to get into that now, but you got to write stuff. When your body writes stuff, your brain activates differently. You look it up yourself. There's a ton of research. I write stuff. I can type it. I got here's my phone and tablet, whatever. You got to write something. I write the show down. There it is. Write it down. Okay, and my handwriting. I don't have anyone else to write. Justin, do I do my own show? Yes, I do my own show because I like doing my own show because I don't want to talk to you about stories someone else gave me. I like my own stories. I'm in a mood today, by the way. The only reason I'm saying that is I write in the margins for stuff I add later. I haven't even gotten to the beginning of the show yet. That's how much stuff I need to hit you with. I saw this morning too. It happened yesterday. I missed it. I had something going on yesterday afternoon, nothing bad. However, it took my attention away. So I saw it this morning. Remember when I told you when Trump was running 47, not 45? Everybody said, this is crazy. He's going to be a lame duck the minute he got in office. Folks, I'm sorry, but I'm taking a victory lap on this one. Self-praise stinks, as Aunt Jane used to say. In this case, I'm asking a dispensation. I told you guys this was going to be even more consequential than his first term because Trump on the giving an F scale, say like he gave 10 Fs, right? He gave 10 Fs and he doesn't want to do anything. He just wanted to leave with some legacy and kiss the left wing's media's ass. That would be like giving 10 Fs. He gives 0 Fs about what anybody thinks anymore. He is doing what he thinks is right. And he's just totally, he's unencumbered by bullshit. Here's President Trump confirming the Dan Bongino screw the lame duck hypothesis theory, the anti-lame duck hypothesis theory. Here's Trump saying it himself yesterday. This is glorious. Check this out.
No, I don't want to brag, but you know, they've said this about a lot of things. No other president could do some of this shit I'm doing. Yeah. No other president. The things I'm doing, nobody else was going to do it. They say it all the time, sir, could you do this? You're the only one can do it.
Even they know it. Even they know it. Republicans in Congress, senators, cabinet secretaries. Hey, Mr. President, listen, these problems have been hanging around forever. Maduro, a lot of AI, crypto regulation issues, economic stuff. No one has had the moose balls to do it. Can you just do it? He's like, yeah, sure. I told you I gave 0 Fs. 0 on the F scale. Maybe they'll start learning this. I told you that this was going to happen. And that's why you had this, I am dead serious, like golden year of executive leadership. Everything from things I was involved in, the crime rate just collapsing, the homicide rate collapsing, the border shut, inflation finally under control. Not totally under control, but getting under control. Economic growth. Yeah, we had some government shutdown activity. We've also had government jobs shrinking, which are hurting the jobs numbers. But that's a good thing, not a bad thing. Shrinking government jobs, who in Hades would have done that? Come on, guys, listen. Again, the diehards, you're with me. To the new people listening to the show, what do you got? 57.4 thousand, 25 minutes in. Thank you. To the say maybe 5,000 who are new here. No one was ever shrinking government jobs, even Republicans. They were like, yeah, we're going to shrink government. They get in office. Are we going to shrink government? Nah, I just said that on the campaign trail. The government's down 10%, the workforce. So liberals are like, well, jobs numbers are a little down. Yeah, because they're pushing people back into the private workforce from the government. It's going to take a while. And even the jobs numbers are pretty good in the private sector. Nobody was going to do this but him. Hence the title of today's show about this shock poll. I say shock poll because the Democrats don't. This was on Mediaite of all places. Mediaite is about as left-wing as it gets. They love like taking shots at conservatives. It's just their thing. I know I shouldn't be giving them clicks, but it's kind of funny to read the side. It really is. Like it puts a smile on my face. Wild new poll. Again, wild. This is not going to be wild to you. Finds that Trump is more popular than Newsom and Kamala and ICE is more popular than the Democrats. Folks, you wanted to, Isaac Shore, media yesterday. You want to talk about a shakeup. This was the subject of like a whole shit ton of left-wing commentary yesterday who can't figure it out. Believe me, they were shocked by this. Trump be more popular than hair gel, Newsom. Like, come on. Newsom, they love Newsom. He's presidential timber. Based on what? And that ICE, put that headline up again, the second part of that. They don't know what to think. The Democrats are like, this shakes up our whole national messaging strategy now. I thought Trump was universally unpopular. Takes out the Ayatollah, locks up Maduro, the border's shut down, the economy's growing again, government shrinking, crime rates at historic lows, murder rate historic lows, drug interdictions, fentanyl deaths down. What the hell? I cannot believe Trump is more popular than Newsom. As my mother-in-law Miriam would say, I cannot believe. There it is. ICE is more popular than the Dems. I thought everybody hated ICE. The Democrats are shutting down the government right now. A large swath of the government's security apparatus called the Department of Homeland Security. Liberals may have heard of this for the first time today. It's called the Department of Homeland Security. What do you guys think the Department of Homeland Security is involved in? Justin's like, I don't know, maybe Homeland Security. Ding, ding, ding. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Maybe fried chicken, maybe spicy herb chicken. I don't know. Department of Homeland Security, the Democrats have it shut down right now. Fact. F-A-C-T, all caps, exclamation point. They have it shut down right now because they swear everyone on planet Earth hates ICE and CBP for assisting in getting illegals out of the country and shutting the border. That doesn't seem to be the case. You see the headline yourself. ICE, more popular than Dems. The Dems are like, I don't know what to do. The clawing, the face clawing, they're clawing, they're plucking hairs out. They're putting fingers in the ears. The guys are like, are you okay? Yes, I'm just in a mood. I got to tell you, it's not even the greatest news day, but I put together this show. And what I say to you guys before the show, this one's going to be a banger. Why? Because I'm just in a mood today. This is why we got to turn up the votes. This is why I popped in the chat this morning. Guys, I'm serious, okay? No messing around. If you're not going to do the 10, 10, and 10 thing, you're not serious about winning. I'm sorry. 10, 10, 10 is the minimum. You should do 100, 100, 100. But I want to be realistic. People got jobs and lives. 10 phone calls, 10 emails, 10 social media posts about where people can vote, how they can vote, who you support, why you support them. Mix it up, match them, put the link to, I live in Martin County, Florida, Martin County Board of Elections, where they can register, where their poll location is. It's really important you do this. If we get the now 60,000 people here in the chat a half an hour in to do that, do you have any idea the force magnification that is? We're not going to win by talking about winning. We're only going to win about doing. I do the 10, 10, and 10. You know how I do it? I mention it 100 times on the show. Folks, please, please, please. We have a shot here. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. The Democrats' gerrymandering has the potential to blow up in their face. What? They gerrymandered their district. You know what gerrymandering is? When you carve up congressional districts in a way that makes them easier to win. Pretty simple stuff. Every party does it. It's not just a Democrat thing. Okay, let's just be clear on that. However, the Democrats carved up, let's just use California, in such a way. Follow me. This is super important. Everybody paying attention, stop what you're doing. What's that line from Aliens? Stop your grinning and drop your linen. Whatever you're doing, stop. Just listen. This is super important, okay? You had districts in California, congressional districts, where there were a lot of throwaway, what's called wasted votes. What's a wasted vote? Anything over 50%. What do you mean, Dan? Because you don't need more than 51 or 50.1% of the vote to win. That's it. That's what you need in a binary. If you get 53% of the vote, You didn't need 2 of those 3%. You can go and send them into another district to help them win where they may have lost by 1, 51-49. Do you get what I'm talking about? You see this in New York and California. California, they carved up the state. So in order to make some Republican districts in California more Democrat, they had to take Democrats away from safe districts and plug them into the Republican ones, which made the Democrat safe districts less safe. What's the point? The point is a lot of these safe Democrat districts in the past, if we show up, are now up for grabs too. This could be the biggest double-barrel middle finger in American history. Numbers are numbers. You can't make a district more Democrat without making another district less Democrat. I'd say Democratic because there's nothing democratic about the Democratic Party. That's why I do it. So don't correct the English. It's done on purpose. They're trying to reduce their throwaway votes. We show up. We have a shot to stick it to them and stick it to them hard. You're going to get politics good and hard. I want to show you, too, how the media right now, again, is trying to contour the narratives around the battlefield. Pun definitely intended. They're trying to contour this now. We're now, 11 days in to the military action in Iran? You got World War III predictions. It didn't work out. The media now, oil prices. Yesterday, did you see the panic? Did you see it, guys? Gas going to be $100 a gallon. Everybody's reading it like, oh my gosh, holy Moses, $100 a gallon. This is insane. They wrote oil prices spike. Except they didn't. They were back down overnight. Well, what happened? Hysteria headlines happened. That's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened. That's why the Democrats don't know anything. They actually believe that. Then they show up at the gas station like, well, it's not great, but it's nothing like the media said. It never is like the media said. I'm going to take a quick break, and I'm going to show you what I mean, how information warfare, make no mistake, is happening right now. Full-blown information warfare by the left, foreign operators. You're seeing it. It's all over the place. All right, quick break. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Brickhouse Nutrition. Folks, I was getting a little gooey. I got to tell you, go back and look at the old Rumble videos. I like lifting pretty heavy and eating a lot of food. I didn't really care about like cardio and stuff. And then I hit 238 on the scale. And I looked at myself in the mirror one day in my old house, a true story. And I was like, okay, there's a little goo there. Josh, do we like goo? No. Josh's like, I don't like goo either. Josh is very thin, so he's not too gooey. However, I need to lose about 30 pounds. True story. So I did. Losing weight, it can be a pain. You know, you got these injections out there and all this stuff. Well, I lost about 30 pounds, maybe a little more, by taking lean. Here it is right here. We love us some lean, Lean. Makes me feel great. It took a lot of weight off. Seriously, I had some really bad joints. That's why I did it too. My knees were giving out. So doctors created lean as a supplement, not an expensive prescription. It works. It's amazing. It works a lot like these GLP-1s. These weight loss injections work by controlling blood sugar and curbing appetite so you eat less. There's no mystery. That's what lean was created to do. Replicate the benefits of those injections without the needles. Lean, Lean, supports healthy blood sugar and helps reduce spikes and crashes that drive snacking and cravings. It's Paula's favorite supplement. But Lean goes a step further and helps your body burn fat into energy instead of storing it. No prescriptions, no needles, super easy. If you've been thinking about losing weight like I was, let's go. I'm telling you, it's my go-to product. When I come back from vacation, I hit it again typically. Sometimes put on a few LBs. Visit brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Use promo code Dan to get 20% off. brickhousenutrition.com/Dan. Promo code Dan. Check out Lean today. Love it. These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease. It's not a substitute or alternative for care from a healthcare provider. Next, you know I love the life hacks. I talk about it all the time. I'm obsessed with it. I would use these products whether they were sponsors or not. Bone Charge, BONCHARGE. When I moved to DC, one of the first things I asked, I said, hey guys, I need one of these red light therapy blankets. Why? I am a huge believer. Look at what red light therapy does for your mitochondria, for your body health. I can't get through a night without it because my joints get really sore. I love red light therapy. It is my go-to. I'm a huge biohacker on that front. Where do I get my products? Bone Charge. Bone Charge is a global leader in premium wellness innovation grounded in science and driven by purpose. They have solutions to fit into any lifestyle. Mine was busy, but I picked the products that work for me. Paula loves a red light face mask. Her skin looks absolutely incredible using it. Look it up. Look at the research on it. Don't take my word for it. She uses it for about 10, 15 minutes every night. One of the nice benefits at night, helps her go to sleep too. I hear her snoring sometimes. She may kill me for saying that. The red light face mask is lightweight, portable, and contours perfectly to your face. It's suitable for all skin types and can support a more youthful complexion, smoother skin texture, and more. That's why Paula looks like she's still in her 20s. If you're ready to feel better, go to bonecharge.com and use code Bongino, Bongino, and save 15% on your red light face mask. Again, that's BONCHARGE.com. Use code Bongino to save 15% on your red light face mask. Pick it up. It works. These statements and products have not been evaluated by the FDA, not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent any disease or condition. Thank you, Bone Charge. So, folks, again, I showed you the short shock poll. Oh, my gosh, Democrats. I can't believe it. Trump is more popular than Newsom, iced than the Democrats. No one on our side is surprised. Why are the Democrats always surprised? We brought this up last week. Because they live in an information bubble full of bullshitters in the media that tell them things they want to hear, tell them a story rather than the story. Yes, you P1s know what I'm talking about. Someone in the chat asked, what was a P1 this morning? It's a radio term for diehard listeners. Here's Politico playbook. This is what I was talking about. A screenshot. Folks, they just can't stop themselves. Trump faces a crude reality. You get to play on words with oil. Very creative, Ali Bianco. The attacks in Iran have penetrated. I'm sorry, this is shit. I can't get over this stuff. I can't even read this stuff. Have penetrated two of Trump's major agendas. It's dominating his vast foreign policy portfolio. Do you know that, folks? Dominating. Poor guy can't do anything else. Dominating. And it risks drowning out other conflicts. And it's spiking prices on the home front, just as the GOP is meeting on how to tackle the midterms. Spiking prices. Except by this morning, oil prices per barrel had pretty much stabilized. Now, if Ali Bianco and Political Playbook would have applied what rule? Yes, the Bongino rule, where what do we do, folks? We wait 24 to 72 hours to let a story settle, not before commenting. You can comment on whatever you like, but before drawing some kind of final conclusion, we try not to speculate on the outcomes of ongoing things until the outcomes have actually outcomed. Making up my own words. I don't like to comment on how great or terrible a movie was until I've seen the end. Okay? And talk about the movie. Lean over in your chair. I told you, I saw that movie in D.C. with Paula, that movie Weapons. I looked over in my, quickie language, I'll ever say. I looked over my chair because this is just accurate. At Paula, she was with me in D.C., came down to visit me, went to Georgetown AMC. Great movie theater, by the way. They treated me and the security detail really nice over there, so thank you. I looked over, I go, what the fuck is this movie about? It was the craziest movie I ever seen. However, I didn't judge the whole movie. You gotta wait till the movie ends. They could have been, Justin's correct. They could have licensed the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi, and they could have popped in. That movie was so crazy, I actually wouldn't have been surprised if Ewoks showed up in the basement. I hated the Ewoks, by the way. I'm really sorry. If there are Ewok fans in the show, I may be cursing myself. I hope you don't leave permanently. I love having you here. The Ewoks were just a horror show. It was a total branding exercise to sell toys. Totally ruined Star Wars. Worse than Jar Jar. I actually prefer Jar Jar Binks over Ewoks. Guy's like, oh, Elizabeth, Guy can't take it. He still thinks the Ewoks were like a great kind of edgy little addition to Return. You're wrong. So you're telling me the Imperial Stormtroopers can't defeat a bunch of freaking Lucy-like teddy bears throwing rocks? That's bullshit. But Playbook's telling you about how oil prices have spiked, and the day hadn't even ended yet. Now that oil prices have come down, all of a sudden, nobody knows what to do. Well, what do we do about yesterday's headline? Just move on, pretend it didn't happen. You see how they contour the battlefield? You know what? Put up that tweet, that Mark Penn tweet. Mark Penn, I'm pretty sure it's like a Democrat pollster. I've seen him on Fox. He's not a Republican. Here's Mark Penn. He's like, look at this Iran coverage. He's mocking the media. Here's some of the headlines. Iran regime doing well and in control. They're fucking dead, bro. He's mocking them, by the way, Penn. He's not like celebrating these stupid headlines. They're doing well. Yeah, they're all taking dirt naps. I guess if they wanted to rest permanently, they're doing great. Trump under pressure to end war. From who? Trump will end this war. He doesn't even call it a war, by the way, when he feels like it. Khomeini's son, just as tough as father. The father's kind of dead. Wasn't that tough? U.S. responsible for missile on school. We don't know that yet. We'll see where that goes. Unfortunately, tragic things happen in war sometimes. Unlike other countries, though, we don't target innocents. And we'd actually do an investigation and apologize for it and move on. Other countries are just going to celebrate it. Look, we killed a bunch of school kids. Animals in some of these terror-laden regimes. One headline he notes after another, essentially featuring Iranian propaganda as the news. Scroll down a bit. Here's the other headlines. Some of the headlines he's saying you should pay attention to that are actually real. 50 Iranian ships sunk. Iranian military assets destroyed. Leadership tries to put on a good showing despite internal chaos. Khomeini appointment creates hereditary theocracy. War plan progress, unprecedented. The press, he notes, is just a drumbeat of negativity. Now, I've never seen this before, but CENTCOM, you guys got that video? CENTCOM, Central Command, U.S. Central Command, theater operator in this activities in Iran right now. Central Command put out a video. I've never seen this before. It may have been I just haven't seen it. Put out a video yesterday on their X account warning that foreign adversaries and pro-Iranian accounts are using X and other platforms to propagandize. Hey, I'm all about the free speech. Don't get me wrong. I'm just telling you, like, it's my free speech too to expose free speech on other platforms, that I'm allowed to have an opinion too. Here's CENTCOM saying, hey, man, be really careful. Like, a lot of the stuff you're seeing out there are not people's opinions. It's foreign bullshit agitprop. Check this out.
Iran is doing everything it can to peddle in lies, deception, and inflation of numbers and reality, mostly to propagandize to their own people, right? They've shut down the internet. They're hoping they can convince their own population that they're having success. One thing one of their leaders said recently is that 500 Americans have been killed, they claim. These are lies. The lies will continue. CENTCOM will continue to debunk those lies. So, and as often is the case in conflict, first reports are often wrong.
Here, right now, just on the screen right now, breaking news, oil prices drop below $100 a barrel. And by the way, I'm not taking a victory lap either. I'm not going to be a hypocrite about my own Bongino rule. Could they go back up? Of course they could go back up. Could they drop further? They could. I'm just going to chill for a minute. I'm just going to chill. Nobody tunes in to this show to hear liberal media bullshit spin. And no, it's not endless propaganda exercises either. Of course there could be something that could spike it again. Maybe we should just wait and see what happens. It's a crazy idea, I know, before forming some final opinion. War's over. War's over. Oil's over $100 a barrel. Actually, it's not. It just dropped below 100. Oh, shit. War's over. Oil's at 99 a barrel. You just said it was over when it went over 100. I changed my mind. That was quick. Folks, here's what I mean, too, about the agitprop. Here's another headline about the Iranians. I told you, they will do anything. This was on Drudge today that absolutely hates Donald Trump. The video of Epstein and Trump, it might be pro-Iranian disinformation. Do you know what this must have taken for the Washington Post to print this? I told you from the beginning of the show, again, the restart, the relaunch 6 weeks ago, that they were undoubtedly going to use the Epstein case file as the next, a crossfire hurricane, collusion, the impeachment hoax, that they were going to use it to try and attach this thing to Donald Trump, despite him signing a bill to get this out there. And here it is. That's even Drudge acknowledging it. I think they thought they were taking a shot at Trump. That's actually an article that proves the point. Of course, it's a critically important case. It involves so many different variables. But the attachment to Donald Trump is bullshit. It's all nonsense, and they knew it. You think Team Biden wouldn't have followed up on this if they thought they had a viable case against Donald Trump? Come on, man. Are you freaking serious? To all the people, that's all they want to think about. Are you telling me with a straight face that Team Garland, Team Monaco, Team Rice, Team Obama, Team Biden, Team Comey, Team Ray would not have put Donald Trump in handcuffs if any of the stuff about Trump in there were true? Now the Iranians seize on it, pounce, whatever word the Democrats like, and people fall for it. I'm not telling you don't read it. I'm telling you know what you're reading. There's a difference. By the way, back to the oil market quickly. Folks, on the price of gas and energy prices, the Iranians control this sliver of a spot where roughly a fifth of the oil in the global market passes through. You've heard it 1,000 times, Strait of Hormuz, okay? The Iranians, being on one side of it, had the ability in the past to cause disruptions there. Insurance companies didn't want to insure oil tankers. Traffic would slow down. Prices would spike. This is one of the main reasons no one had the nutsack to do what Donald Trump did in the past and take out the Iranian debt to America mullahs. Donald Trump said, you know what? I'm going to risk a little bit of short-term volatility in energy prices, which we're seeing, to control that strait or exert more control over that strait long-term so they can't put an energy gun to the world's head from this point forward. And he did it. He did it. We have now de facto control over the strait. Think of it as a barn door. Behind the barn door is the world's energy supply, or say a fifth of it to give realistic numbers. The Iranians had the lock to that barn door. We have now hijacked the key. We have the key. We have the lock. We control the barn door now. There is the possibility, though, for ballistic missile targeting, and that's why there's still some issues. That's why they're taking out the ballistic missiles, too. Hello, McFly. Charles Payne's a good man. I like Charles from Fox. Here he is explaining how oil prices, here's what happens in the oil market. There's a lot of speculation, hedging, and panic buying that happens in the oil and energy market. People hear a bad headline. It's called headline risk. They go out, they buy. When you buy something, there's a lot of demand prematurely. And what happens? Prices spike. Simple market clearing price. You get the X and O if you've seen supply-demand economics. Pretty simple stuff. But there's also hedging and futures contracts. People who factored in a price of energy in the market for their planes and jet fuel and everything else start buying futures contracts and everything. Once the panic and the headlines settle down, those contracts have to be settled. And when they're settled, there's a counterparty. And prices come down, sometimes dramatically. That's why you saw the drop yesterday. So to all the bed shitters out there, oh my gosh, the war is over. Prices are spiking. This is a thorough insanity. Listen to Charles Payne say, everybody hold. We haven't done that in a while. Check this out.
We don't have an oil problem. And I think that, Secretary Wright was trying to explain that. This is all speculation. This is all, you can almost argue, manipulation. This is what they call geopolitical risk. There's no formula for it. It could be an extra $10. It could be an extra $20. It could be an extra $30. So when you have a move like that, that's not based on fundamentals per se, it could be parabolic, which it is, through the roof. But when parabolic moves like that die down, they usually come down just as fast.
Just did my 10 air squats in the show. Did I not? Yes, I did. The prices can come down just as fast because the contracts have to be settled. Think about putting call options on a stock. You buy a stock option, a futures contract, and you go long on it. You think the price is going to go up, okay? You want the right to buy that stock at a certain price, a lower price, because you think it's going to go up. Eventually, the contract has to be settled. My gosh, these look at the chat. Yeah, folks, the price came down so quickly. Everybody, the panic class, it just drives me freaking nuts. We opened up the show today with someone in the chat. I forget who it was. Someone said to me in the chat, World War III, this host is talking about World War III. Everything the panic in class is talking about, nearly every single thing has not happened. I'm dead serious when I say this. At what point do you disregard their opinion and say everything they said was going to happen did not happen? At what point does that happen? How many times are they going to bullshit you before you're like, I've had enough? By the way, just put up that Wall Street Journal article quick with the screenshot by Kessler. Here's the long-term and midterm possibilities, not midterm elections, but middle-term timeline horizon about what could happen with energy prices because Donald Trump had the moose balls to do what he did. Kessler notes in the Wall Street Journal, here's a real win scenario. He says there are two components. Component one, the U.S. gets Western-friendly regimes in Venezuela and Iran to pump oil like crazy, adding to the global supply, not subject to sanctions. Two, the U.S. achieves post-war control of the Strait of Hormuz, through which a fifth of the global oil flows. Could prices then head towards $40 a barrel? He notes that's likely. It would cripple the Russian war machine. Check. The gay farmer. You had to see yesterday's show for that. By the way, I love Andy Kessler's columns a lot. He's no big, huge Trump guy. Do you hear what he's saying? You get long-term control and the lock on the barn door to a fifth of the world's global supply. The price could crash to $40 a barrel. Then you got a different set of issues out in the Permian Basin and elsewhere. And then it cripples the Russian war machine. Why? How is Russia financing their war machine? A war machine needs power. Power needs money. Russia gets money from selling oil and selling power. All I'm asking you is, you see why I told you, I'm in a freaking mood today. You see why I get so pissed off at the doomer panic in class? Because the left, put up that other Wall Street Journal article, totally out of order. The left, there are people on the left starting to realize right now that their party's gone crazy. Not a lot. Don't put a big smile on your face. James Freeman wrote about this in the Journal yesterday. Most Democrats want normal. They put a survey out where a lot of these AOC, Bernie Sanders types, again, we're not going to be popping any champagne. A lot of Democrats are starting to realize, like even with this Tallarico candidate in Texas for Senate, that they're in deep shit with this. Men's penises in the women's room. Like this is like they're not the kind of stuff which resonates. There are a lot of Democrats starting to get away from this stuff. How does that have to do? What does that have to do with doomers? The doomer class, like this is the Democrats' last chance, is to fracture us from the inside with agitprop and bullshit and to start this, so-called, MAGA civil war. Folks, if this operation in Iran wraps up in the next couple weeks, and we've decapitated the regime, decapitated their ballistic missile sites, destroyed their nuclear program, and have de facto control of the Straits of Hormuz, we are in amazing shape and we are 1,000 times better. And that might be an understatement than where we were even after Midnight Hammer when we took out some of those nuclear facilities. We will be in incredible shape. Incredible shape. Now, folks, this poll I showed you in the beginning of the show, Trump more popular than Newsom, ICE more popular than Democrats. It's not a shock to any of you, but I promise you it was a shock to Democrats. The liberal ones I just showed you in that Freeman article who were trying to drag the party to put men in the women's room. They really believe like they had the place, completely like the men in black, like, they wiped their brains of the old Democrat Party and instilled the new one, like a new software program. Folks, nothing they tell you is true. These Democrats, the ones in charge now, are complete lunatics. They have one goal and one goal only. And that is power and the abuse of power. That's it. I'm not kidding. They would, tomorrow morning, they would support voter ID if they thought voter ID would lead to more Democratic votes. I am not kidding. Why do they hate voter ID and the SAVE Act? They hate it because they need illegals voting, voter fraud. They need them to win for the Electoral College, midterm elections. They don't feel like they can win without mass ballot harvesting and fraud. If they did feel like they can win, they wouldn't fight this stuff. Hat tip, what is this? Hunter Biden laptop something on TikTok? Here's a gem from Chuck Schumer. Yesterday? No, like a very long time ago when he had more hair. He was probably a congressman when this one went down. Here's Chuck Schumer, ironically, advocating for ID, Social Security cards, and against fraud before he realized he was for fraud and against ID. Check this out.
The gentleman, salute him for his work on this, rise in support of the amendment. First of all, Social Security card is used from one end of America to the other as an identification card right now. Who are we kidding? If you want to pass a law and says it shouldn't be, I would ask the chairman and the distinguished minority member of the Social Security committee to pass that law. But let's admit the truth. Everywhere people go, they're asked for a Social Security card. In fact, one way to prove you're a bona fide person who can have a job is to ask for a driver's license and a Social Security card. This is an anti-fraud amendment. Over where we go, people say, well, why can't you stop illegal immigrants or others from coming here? And the number one answer we give our constituents is when they come here, they can get jobs, get benefits against the law because of fraud.
1996, I was a police cadet. That's how long ago that was. I've been through about 47 different jobs since then. Folks, these people are full of shit. I'm telling you, they are creating a very serious national security situation right now. This is a far different world than 1996. You have everything from agricultural bioweapons. You've seen some of the arrests we made when I was there in the Bureau about these Chinese researchers, CCP-connected researchers trying to smuggle all these agricultural parasites and pathogens into the country. We had, 3 or 4 cases like that? Or I think one was out of Michigan. There were a ton of them. We get briefed on them like once a week. You've got cyber weapons right now. Cyber weapons right now that could probably do significant damage to the grid where you come in and hit power on your computer and you get nothing but the blue screen of doom. This is a no bullshit world we live in right now. You see this ABC article yesterday? Now, I would not jump the gun on any of this again. The media wants you to get all excited and, oh my gosh, about sleeper cells in the United States. I've already told you that the sleeper cell, Iranian terrorist sleeper cell issues, could there be? Of course there could be sleeper cells present. You don't know what you don't know. The U.S. has intercepted encrypted communications believed to have originated in Iran that may serve as an operational trigger for sleeper assets outside the country, according to a federal government alert sent to law enforcement agencies. Folks, of course, this is a potential situation. However, as I've indicated to you many times, having seen this from the other side, the presence of a network of people known as a cell, rather than a lone actor, creates the need for communications, money to change hands typically, weapons, training, chat room conversations, and we do a pretty darn good job of intercepting this stuff in advance. Not that I'm not worried about it. It's not what I'm saying. What I'm telling you is ABC wants you to panic right now. Here's Donald Trump himself yesterday discussing. He gets a question about sleeper cells. I want you to pay, it answers about 50 seconds, not that long. But I want you to pay very close attention to the last few seconds of this because he gets briefed. Folks, he gets briefed on this every day. We would get the same brief he does. He gets this every day. He knows exactly what's happening. Check this out.
Iran activated any sleeper cells inside the U.S. There's reports that they have pressed that trigger button to activate those cells, at least abroad.
Well, they've been trying for a long time. We've been very much on top of it. One of the things we have to do is get the Democrats to stop the Democrat shutdown because, as you know, the apparatus that looks into that Schumer and the Democrats have shut it down, which tells you they probably hate our country a lot. But the Democrats have to open that up. But we've got very, very good intelligence into that. We know a lot of different things that have happened that have been very bad. A lot of them came in during the Biden open border period, but we have them under, we've got them, we're watching every single one of them. Yeah, we know a lot about them.
Voodoo Zombie in the chat. Oh, Dan, I've missed super caffeinated Dan. Yes, there it is right in there. A little cold brew blackout. He is telling you, President Trump, exactly what's happening. I'm not telling you it's not a threat. Do not misconstrue my words. Especially liberal media scum who watch the show and like to, obsess. They can't get away. I'm just telling you that once you create a circuit or a cell of people, there are interception points that don't exist with just lone actors. Now, the Democrats don't seem to give a shit at all, as President Trump just indicated, because they don't even want to fund the Department of Homeland Security during a really perilous time in American history. No one's downplaying what's going on in Iran right now. There is clearly an elevated threat situation. No Republican or Democrat's going to tell you otherwise. The degree of the elevation is open for debate. I think ABC is looking for you to panic. Don't panic. Panic doesn't do anything. However, if the Democrats were really serious about wrapping this up quickly and stopping World War III and stopping a terror attack on U.S. soil, you think they would help and fund the freaking Department of Homeland Security? That's the actual name, bro. They can't even do that. Watch this Fox video from yesterday. TSA, you think TSA is important? Maybe, it's not like terrorists. You guys ever heard of an incident where terrorists target the aviation industry? Josh is like, no, I never heard of that. Never happened. It happens all the time. You think you may want to fund TSA? Just a thought. Check this out.
This is out of the New Orleans airport here. Security lines wrapped around for hours. It was so crowded there that you could barely see the floor. An airport spokesperson said TSA is short-staffed at security checkpoints because of the federal government partial shutdown, leading to those longer than usual lines. And it was the same story at Houston's Hobby Airport here on Sunday afternoon, lines reaching the parking lot. And it comes as millions of spring breakers are expected to travel over the next 2 months.
Why would you continue to vote for this? I'm sorry, guys. Listen, I understand hardball partisan politics as good as well as anyone. I've run, I've been an activist, been on the inside, been on the outside, blah, 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 whatever. Who cares? Who gives a shit? I'm just telling you, this is beyond the pale. The Democrats, you lose nothing right now politically by coming out and saying, hey, whatever, just make it up. We got Kristi Noem and we got body cameras. We won. And this is a really perilous time. And we think it's a good idea to open up the government right now. I mean, we're the big government people, and we don't think it's a good idea to shut government while we're taking out the Ayatollah class. You lose nothing. They are so deranged. They can't even do that. And you want to vote for these crazy people. Here, you want to vote for this? Guy picked out this gem. Here's another one of these Democrat liberal rallies. What was this, International Women's Day rally? Check this out. This is what you want to vote for? Now you see why even some Democrats, quote, want normal? Check this out.
What? What makes you up? And now I invite you to scream.
What is with the screaming, bro? What the? I was going to voice over this, but I can't. So when I was up in D.C., I lived in City Center, and I lived in this building. So the security detail, I lived on one of the upper floors. The security detail, people would go in Looney Tunes in the chat. This is what the left is. If you're ever at a Republican rally where they do this, leave immediately. So the security detail, sometimes my knee would hurt, so I'd walk a little slow, and I lived all the way at the end of the hallway. The elevator was super loud when you would hold the elevator for too long. The security detail would hold it, and it would be like, and I would say to them, hey, guys, what's the most annoying sound in the world? And they'd be like, that one? I'd be like, yes, that one. I take that back. That lady is the most annoying sound in the world. That's your options. Folks, I got a couple other things I want to get after, including the Alinsky rule you're going to see in the media right now. A Guardian hit piece on Secretary of War Hegseth that is just freaking disgusting. They love the media, the Alinsky rule. I saw this with us over at the Bureau. I see, obviously, with Trump. When they cannot argue the results, Hegseth has Maduro under his belt now, Midnight Hammer, and this operation, which at least thus far, movie's not over yet, has been going quite well. What do? Single out the target, personalize it, and make it about Pete. Don't make it about the results. They did this with us, too. I don't like Dan's haircut. Really? I cut my own hair. What does that have to do with the results? Quick break. I'll show you what I mean. I just want to give you a quick update, too, on what Secretary Hegseth and the president, what they're actually doing. Hey, when spring rolls around, I always get that urge to reset everything, just get life running a little smoother. And the one upgrade that's made a huge difference in my life is the mattress. Folks, you got to have a good mattress. If you're not sleeping good, you're going to feel it the next day. You're going to feel it in your joints. You're going to feel sluggish. You're going to feel mentally not there. Mentally, physically, all of it. You got to get a good night's sleep. Let all that stuff clean out of the brain and the body to recover. I have a Helix mattress. I've had one for a long time. This is my second or third. Had one when I moved up north, too. I've had it for quite a while. All my kids have them. Have one in the guest house. The guest loves it all the time. They go over there like, where'd you get that mattress? Hey, Helix, Helix. Here's the only downside. You don't want to sleep at a hotel anymore because you love your Helix mattress. Before Helix, nights were rough. Wake up with a tight back. Knees would be killing me. No more. Super comfortable mattress. And here's the thing. They have this sleep quiz over there. You go and take it, and it gets paired with the perfect mattress for how you sleep, not someone else. And within the first week, you're going to feel your body feeling actually different and relaxing at night. Get rid of the mattress you have now. Pick up a Helix, Helix. I'm waking up refreshed. Helix has an exclusive offer now for my audience. Best mattress in the business. Just go to helixsleep.com/Dan. Take the sleep quiz. Get a mattress tailored to you and get 27% off site-wide and one of the best, most competitive prices in the business. That's helixsleep.com/Dan for 27% off site-wide. Make sure you enter our show name at checkout so they know we sent you. That's helixsleep.com/Dan, helixsleep.com/Dan. Check it out. Let me go to the Pete article first in The Guardian. So we make every effort to never stay on track today at all. We have done nothing according to plan today during the show because, yes, as that chatster said out there, I am in one of these super caffeinated moods today. Guardian. A very dangerous person. Alarm is Pete Hegseth. By the way, you can call him Secretary Hegseth. He has a title, Revels in the carnage of Iran war. Revels. Leave that up. Revels. I don't know. Did you guys see him reveling? He's sitting there, feet up, drink wine pouring all over. Like those old medieval parties, turkey leg in his mouth. I am reveling in the carnage of the Iran. I don't see reveling. I don't know what you're talking about, reveling. They note that Pete is, quote, brash and bellicose. And he sounded more like a cartoon bully rather than a somber statesman. And they put some of his quotes out there. This is, by the way, him reveling. We are punching them while they're down, which is exactly how it should be. Josh, does that sound like reveling? Josh, that doesn't sound like reveling to me. Josh, wouldn't you think that's how war works, right? Like when you defeat the enemy, like you don't let them get back up, correct? That's the whole idea of war, right? You go, hey guys, I'm going to give you time to recover, and then we're going to hit you again. That's not I was not in combat. I don't pretend to be. I'm just not stupid. Okay? You're in combat. Your goal is to do what? Kill the bad guy. You don't shoot the bad guy. You nick him in the toe and go, hey, you okay? Hold on. We're going to give you a few minutes. Why don't you reload, and then we'll do it again. That's not the way this works, bro. That's him, quote, reveling? That sounds to me like a rather benign statement of fact on how combat actually works. This is the left-wing media and their Alinsky tactics. Put it up. They love this one. You see them doing it with everyone in the administration. Rules for Radicals, Saul Alinsky, left-wing organizer. Pick the target, in this case, Pete Hegseth, Secretary of War. Freeze it, personalize it, and polarize it. Cut off the support network, isolate the target from sympathy. Go after people and not institutions. People hurt faster than institutions. It's a cruel but very effective tactic. Folks, I was on the other side of this. I've been talking about the Alinsky rules forever. When they cannot argue the results, the PC cases, lowest crime rate in American history, the homicide rate collapsing, 67,000 arrests. It's counter-espionage and CT interdictions, counter-terror interdictions. When they can't do it, they go after you. They're doing the same thing now with Secretary of War Pete Hegseth. They don't have anything else. What they say in the legal space, when you can't pound the facts, pound the table, this is them pounding the table. Pete's brash and bellicose. What the hell does that even mean? Is he getting results or not? Here's a Trey Yingst clip from Fox from yesterday, where the entire leadership Mullah regime of death to America, radical freaking lunatics, the whole class of these idiots have been completely wiped out. You want to argue those results? You want to argue about Pete, brash, or bellicose, cartoon character? These people are totally full of shit. This is Alinsky tactics. Once you learn to recognize them, you can then move past it. But then you get bogged down. This is where they pull in kind of the doomer class. They get into personalities. By the way, you know how many of these bullshitters thought I was never coming back and just did all this bullshit because they felt like, oh gosh, he's gone. Maybe we could steal his own. They're not stealing shit. I was always coming back at some point. I had to flip the calendar and get some stuff done. Here's Trey Yingst on Fox about exactly how successful this has been so far.
They built their military around this, planning for this mosaic defense. But the reality is, as these strikes continue, we can expect more of Iran's leadership to be taken out. And it makes it very challenging for Iran to fight for long periods of time. They say that they are prepared for a months-long war. The reality will be quite different, despite the fact that there is still incoming fire from Iran itself, the ballistic missiles that soar through the skies of this country. Earlier today, one person was killed in central Israel, and the fire that we just saw now from Hezbollah. It is a military that will continue to be depleted in the days ahead.
Folks, do you have any idea when you get past the Guardian, personalize it, Alinsky bullshit, and the personal attacks on Secretary Hegseth, how much he has done at the Pentagon when you want to get into just results and get past the bullshit? Supply chain. Do you know what a mess the military supply chain was? I had some experience with meetings with them on drones, which I bring up a lot. The supply chain, there are so many people in the Pentagon who've got their kind of like fingers in the pot on things. It's almost impossible to find a decision maker. He's been spending the last year while Maduro was happening, while Midnight Hammer was happening, while all these global activities were happening. He's also been cleaning up the supply chain with his deputy over there. It is really, really difficult. The bureaucracy at the Pentagon is unbelievable. He's cleaned up a lot of that, while he's also dealing with the explosive growth of AI and some of these woke AI companies that, hey, hold on, time out again. I need you to listen. This is really important. Some of these woke AI and computing companies don't want to do business with the U.S. government or Department of War because they live in some fairy tale world where they think, oh, we don't want our technology used to kill people. These mother are trying to kill us too, you dipshits. You ever see the All In podcast? A really good show. They had an acquisitions official from the Pentagon on the show yesterday talking about this brewing war between this AI company and the Pentagon, where this AI company wants to sell their products to the U.S. government. But, we're not so sure we want our products used to, kill people. You know what? Sometimes bad people have to die. Do you not know that? So you want it, just to be clear, let's withhold our products from the U.S. government, defending liberty and freedom basically around the world, While you do what? Sell it to like Death to America crowd assholes and others? Are you for real? Listen, I am a economic libertarian at heart, but we live in a dangerous freaking world. And if you've got advanced level products that can help kill Americans, then you better be helping Americans fight back and defend themselves if your product's hijacked too. This is a fascinating minute where this Pentagon official's like, hey man, we're done with this bullshit. You're going to sell this stuff to the U.S. government, then you're not going to tell us how to use it too. Check this out.
Why then designate them a supply chain risk? Why not just abandon them, move on, use the other vendors? Like, why take this kind of punitive action?
Yeah, so I don't view it as punitive, and I'll tell you why. It's if their model has this policy bias, let's call it, based on their constitution, their culture, their people, and so on. I don't want Lockheed Martin using their model to design weapons for me. I don't want the people who are designing the things that go into the componentry to come to me, because if you believe the risk of poisoning inside of the threat, it can enter into any part of the defense enterprise. But it's just the defense enterprise. So Boeing wants to use Anthropic to build commercial jets, have at it. Boeing wants to use it to build fighter jets. I can't have that because I don't trust what the outputs may be because they're so wedded to their own policy preferences. I worried about them shutting off our system at a moment of need, or them messing with our system at a moment of need. If you don't want your stuff to be used for Department of War stuff, you shouldn't be selling to the Department of War.
Pretty straightforward. It's in the name. It's in the name.
Folks, this is serious, okay? That's Emil Michael. He's an undersecretary at the Pentagon on the acquisition side. This is really important stuff. I should have put this at the beginning of the show. Shame on me. I was just in a mood today, and I just had so much stuff to get to. That's probably one of the most important things I could have discussed today. I've been warning you that technology is advancing, surveillance technology, weapons technology, targeting technology, AI technology, quantum technology, at a pace that's hard for the guardrails to catch up. Trying to say stuff without saying, you get where I'm going with this? It's hard for the guardrails to catch up. If these companies are going to sell in the US market, and it is a dual use technology, dual use, I know a lot of you know what that means, or maybe some liberals in the chat though. It can be used for free market business, capitalist enterprise, and military technology too. A lot of the jet GPS started that way. I mean, obviously the internet and DARPA and all that stuff. Dual use technology. These dual use technologies, AI, advanced computing, this is a whole different level, folks. If China, Iran, North Korea, and others, and enemies of the United States, even in our own hemisphere, get access to this technology before us, we're finished. These companies live in some bullshit world, utopia, where we don't want our products used to kill people. Really? Folks, I've got news for you. Remember the old Ginsu knives from back in the day? You remember, I may be aging myself. Knives are used for good all the time. People carve things, people cut things, they cut meat, they cut food, they eat them. People also kill people with knives. Imagine a knife cut. We're not selling knives anymore. A knife was used to kill someone. Are you people for real? You should be lining up at the Secretary of War in the Pentagon's office to be assisting the United States government to make the military so powerful that nobody does mess with us and we can head off a world war. I'm just telling you, there were a lot of projects I was knee deep in. Thankfully, a lot of the companies that provided this tech were very good, even companies I don't like, but they were very helpful. But that is some serious bullshit. I don't know what kind of world they think we live in. That's why I saw this tweet this morning from Cash. Obviously, I don't discuss his tweets with him anymore. I'm out. But I saw this from the FBI Director Patel. He's like, hey, we're working, the FBI that is, obviously, working 24/7 to stay ahead of the threat and implement a sweeping cyber strategy pursuant to President Trump's cyber strategy for America. President Trump understands the cyber threat. I'm telling you, he sees it like mad, the mutually assured destruction nuclear policies of the Reagan era and earlier, where, folks, we can't stop the proliferation of nuclear weapons around the world. We're trying. We did in Iran. But I'm saying, like, I shouldn't say we can't stop it. We can. I'm saying, like, the people who have nuclear weapons have them. North Korea, Russia. Russia's got a huge portfolio of them. China and other countries as well. You're not going to stop that now. We're there. That's the world we live in. That's the deck of cards we got to play. So now we build our own nuclear portfolio to say, well, if you decide to launch a nuclear weapon at us, like House of Dynamite style, that was that movie on Netflix that freaked everybody out, right? Then we are going to mutually assure your destruction by launching at you too, and then everybody dies. So your choice is suicide or not. This administration sees some of these advanced cyber weapons the same way, and that was a total sea change. That's why I get so pissed off at these AI companies who don't understand the threat picture to this country. I wish you could just read them in on an intelligence briefing once or twice a week and then wipe their minds and then say, hey, here's what we're dealing with every day. You want to help now? I guarantee you they'd be like, oh, okay, we changed our mind. Now we understand. On a lighter note, I don't like to leave you guys, show not over yet, but I don't like to leave you guys with, kind of bad feelings and, as my grandmother would say, agita for the day. Technology's obviously provided us with incredible medicines, transportation technology, materials science, CRISPR, genes, gene editing. I mean, all this stuff is like exploding. Quantum, AI. I use this specific AI program for my health. I probably put too much information in there. I just don't want to die. I had that whole cancer scare thing. Well, not scary, I had cancer, but it was always scary to me. Hopefully everything's good in the future. I put a lot of information. It's amazing what it'll spit out. I learned something about eosinophils last night I'd never known before. What are eosinophils? Check it all out. I had an elevated eosinophil thing. I found the link on AI last night, or it found it. I couldn't even believe. I cannot believe. Technology, if we can get a hold of this and get the guardrails up and make sure everything is balanced going forward, because this stuff does have potential to cause us real harm. I don't have a Tesla. I've been thinking about buying one for a while. I have to have special cars, if you know what I mean, for security purposes. However, I've been thinking about it for a while. I got to tell you, I know about the self-driving feature. You see freaking, Waymos and all kinds of cars. Most cars have them now. The car I have, because of some stuff on it, doesn't have that option, the self-driving option. However, I may be the last person on earth who is like floored, but this, I've never even, I don't think I've even driven in a Tesla. But you hear all Tesla owners, bragging about their cars and the self-driving technology. Sometimes you see them on the road, they're like shaving. And I'm always like, damn, that's pretty cool. Because I hate driving. We don't have the team with us. I saw this video and the guy posted this. If you don't own a Tesla, it's about a minute, but this is pretty cool stuff. Check this out.
Owning a Tesla in 2026 is wild because every day I wake up with a fully charged battery and all I need to do is unplug my Tesla, get inside, buckle my seatbelt, enter a destination, and then I just tap start self-driving and it will literally drive me out of my garage to my destination without me having to do a single thing. Then once my Tesla arrives at its destination, it will look for its own parking spot and park itself for me.
Totally understand this actual self-driving technology is actually quite old. I mean, it's not new. Everybody knows about self-driving. All I'm telling you is I watch this video and I hang out and I spend a lot of time in Miami. I love Miami. Liberals stay out of there. City's closed. We're not taking new applicants. I love Miami. I'm a city kid at heart. So is my wife. I spend a ton of time down there. Folks in the chat, anyone from Miami? Down in the Brickell area down there? You walk around the streets of Brickell, It's like freaking Blade Runner. Like the new Blade Runner. There's like the little robot DoorDash things all over the street. I love how they like always find a crosswalk. There's Waymos everywhere. I'm waiting for like stormtroopers and stuff from Star Wars to come over. It's the most amazing thing I've ever seen. It's like you never thought you'd be like, we're only like 10 minutes away from like those drone taxis with the propellers and the parachutes. It is insane. You walk down a Brickell, anybody that, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Waymos and robots everywhere. So I don't want you to be down on it. The technology's good. There's going to be a massive productivity boom as artificial intelligence implanted into robotics basically takes over the production, eliminates the need for a lot of hard human capital inputs, and everything you buy is now going to be dramatically cheaper. No, it isn't. Yes, it is. Only liberals who don't understand economics don't understand this. This has only happened like 100,000 times over the last 2 decades. Remember flat screen TVs when they came out? $4,000 or $5,000. They weighed like 700 pounds. I had one. It was like this thick. Now you buy one in Walmart. It's a better technology. It's like $150 on sale on Black Friday. And it weighs like 5 pounds. This is going to happen with everything, folks, because the expensive inputs to build these things are going to get really cheap. Even the inputs like the rare earth minerals and the silicon and all of it, the processing is going to be done by robots too. We are getting there. We are getting there. And we're all going to be better for it. So I don't want to leave you with any bad stuff. Folks, thanks for tuning in. Please make sure to download the Rumble Wallet. Rumble Wallet is fantastic. Get custody over your money. Download the Rumble app. You can watch the show for free. Doesn't cost you anything. We go live every day at 10 a.m. To those diehards who get in the chat early, love you guys. I watch the chat early. I really appreciate you all tuning in. To the Star Wars guy who tunes in before the show and then watches later. That's really cool, man. Thank you so much. You guys are so loyal to this show. We deeply appreciate it. Go to rumble.com/Bongino. If you don't like apps and you want to watch it on the web, that's fine. Click that follow button right there. Thank you very much. It doesn't cost you anything. It's absolutely free. Tune in live every day at 10 a.m. And if you don't mind, if you do, I get it. But if you don't mind, go to Apple and Spotify and just follow the show there as well. We really appreciate it. And we got the new shirts up, all America, all the time. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you back here tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Hey there, I'm Vince.
I'm Haley Carania,
Host of Vince.
host of Scrolling with Haley.
You can always catch my show right here
on the Bongino Report channel.
live, 8 a.m. Eastern, weekday mornings.
Noon weekdays. And if you miss it, no worries. The show will always be right here and anywhere you find a podcast. Thanks for watching.